Hello, campers. Welcome back to the business broadcast.
Howdy-ho.
JB, it's been a while since we've been together doing this.
Yes.
We're together a lot recently.
We are. We have been.
We've just done Business Masterclass in London at the time of recording. We're getting ready for Business Masterclass 2025 now. But
we might be so far ahead that this is now promoting Business Masterclass 2025.
People are buying tickets for Business Masterclass because they know if they want to get good tickets, now's the time to buy them at the discounted rate. My website, jamessinclair.net. We should do
got tickets open for
we've
next
sold
year.
loads already.
Have you?
Yeah.
You're not
I'm not even joking. No.
Oh, really? Oh, good for you.
People,
it was very good, by the way.
Yeah, we got some great feedback from it, helping people grow.
You are very talented. Like, I know I take the piss out of you relentlessly, but you are genuinely, I think, the shining star of proper real world entrepreneurship in this country.
Oh, thanks, mate. Well, I think you're lovely. I do.
Well, that's good.
You know.
So there you go.
Not so much talented, but lovely.
No, but I'm a nice.
No, you are very talented.
What I lack in talent, I make up for in niceness. That has been said. Today's business is an intriguing one, isn't it?
It is. So Martin is our guest that's going to be joining us in some moments' time.
Yes. Bar Booths Limited.
Yeah, to give us a little soiree into the business.
So he's been going for between 3 and 9 years. We still need to change up the website, don't we? So we get more specific. Anyway, between 3 and 9 years.
I fed that back. Someone's going to lose their job on this.
Right.
Because I fed that back after you
look down the camera and tell someone.
Guys, in the edit, can we change that so we get more specific? There we go.
There you go. If they don't now, they're definitely getting sacked. He's doing an estimated monthly revenue of £130,000, which sounds incredible. But as he said in the pre-chat chat, because it's a JV sort of joint venture revenue split model.
60% of that is his.
Yeah, straight away. So he's losing 40% of that, and then that's without any of the costs.
And then the VAT.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He has got team members. He's got 4 including himself, and he's also got casual staff. His biggest challenge is cash flow for growth. He's building new machines, which is capital intensive. And he was saying to us off air, he's building a lot of them at the moment, and they cost, £5,000 to £6,000 per unit. And you're probably not going to be recouping that cash for some time. I wonder how long it takes to recoup the cash investment.
A couple of years, I reckon.
It's got to be, hasn't it?
Yeah, I reckon. We was discussing how much it costs to build one of these booths, and he gave us a figure. I think he said £5,000. I said, what does it cost you with labour and overheads? And he said about £1,000. That is not a good enough answer. What you should do is whatever your cost of materials when you're making stuff, add on 40% for overhead, because people forget about business rates, insurance, depreciation, all of these ands.
So you're saying 5 for materials plus the £1,000
whatever
for the labour
cost of it.
and 40% on top.
I'll talk about it in our ice cream company. So we would go, what's the cost of ingredients plus 40% for overhead plus a percentage for profit.
Right, okay.
Because especially in that 40%, a lot of businesses don't include this, is what is your R&D time? So you quote something, okay, it's £10,000 plus 40%, and you go, well, it's not actually 40% it's cost me. But I really think if you factor in the business owner's time in research, development, because that all gets forgotten. But, big companies never forget that because they're paying wages to do that.
Yeah.
The owner might be prepared to not pay themselves 2 or 3 years to get this thing off the ground, but there's a lot of hours that go into R&D in SMEs, especially in the early years. So
instead of him thinking it's a 5K cost, it's actually, to your methodology, then he needs to be allowing 7 for that. So you're adding the 40%.
The thing is as well, I always say to SMEs as well, that the business owner should, and I said this at BMC as well, the business owner should put their salary at a commercial cost into the marketplace.
I heard you saying that, yeah.
And that's a very good acid test, because people go, we made £100,000 profit this year. And I would always say to them, if I was doing some consultancy, what would you want to earn in the marketplace? What would be your salary?
£100,000.
You break even, baby.
Yeah.
And they hate it. They hate it. But it's
the truth,
really good discipline
to
have on your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So the challenges that he's got, as I mentioned, cash flow for growth, building the new machines, and it's capital intensive. And he says it's quite seasonal. So at the moment, he's building a lot, which will take a while to recoup. Maybe we'll get some more specifics on that from him when we bring him on shortly.
Interesting he says that.
Second biggest, seasonal?
Because once he's got the booze out, they should be earning money, unless people don't go to nightclubs and bars in the summer and only do it in the winter or vice versa.
Maybe. I suppose, but he's got one big client, hasn't he? So maybe that's a seasonal.
There's definitely customer concentration in this business, and that is the biggest danger. We always talk about the pod, always talk about seminars. No more than 10% of your revenue should come from any one source.
Based on what he's saying.
He's an
I
employee.
reckon he's got 70%. I reckon coming from one place.
We'll find out.
We will find out.
Should we have a game? We like a game here.
Oh
on
yeah,
the pod.
shall we?
Yeah, I'm going to go 72%.
Oh, whatever. His second biggest challenge is the balancing of staffing. He wants to have enough staff to manage the builds, but not too many staff, and we don't have all those builds on the go at the same time. Third biggest challenge is finding new venues, putting across how our product is better than competitors. Most bars simply put in a photo booth because it's a photo booth. So they've got to have their sort of key differential more obvious, I guess, to their ideal target market.
Good business to get customers though. You just go up and say, look, do you want to give this a go? There's no cost,
free.
There's no risk, there's no capex, and we'll just give you 40% of the revenue. Like, you know, they're good conversations.
That's a good USP, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where does he want the business to be in 1 year's time? We always ask this of people. He says he wants 300 plus machines out, making steps towards franchises in other territories, and be growing a high-end events section of the business as well. What will the business look like when it's finished? And he said, oh, no, he didn't say anything to that. He refused to answer. Fine. Fine.
Have you got everything there?
No, profits. Does he make the profit you want to make? If so, what is it? He says, we always want more. £309,000 in net to the financial year just gone. But he wants to hit 500 grand in the next financial year. What does he spend his time doing day to day in the business? He says, I am too involved, ! Although the business is based in Essex and I live in Cornwall, I'm generally doing all of the comms with clients at the moment, having regular calls with my ops manager. This has been due to the volume of builds that we've had on in the past 12 months and needing all hands on deck on the workshop. And then he's got 5 questions he would like to ask you as well.
I mean, I think there's some interesting things that we should just pick up on here. He was a police officer.
Yes.
Built this as a side hustle whilst being a police officer. It took over, stopped being a police officer.
Yes.
Wanted to move to New Zealand. Decided, no, actually we'll do Cornwall because of coronavirus, because he was building this in COVID. Now lives in Cornwall. And I think
manages it remote.
Very strange. He's got employees. He's got a warehouse, a factory in Essex.
Which you look at it, you go, well, it's in the same country. But if you're listening from around the world, he might as well. It's pretty quicker and easier to like have a team in Eastern Europe than Cornwall.
Cornwall is a long way away.
It is, isn't it?
You get to Devon and then you think, all right,
I'm
still
here.
Got another day's work here just to get out. Yeah.
It is fantastic down there, though. It's a beautiful part of the world.
I went to, in Devon, not to mention great businesses, I went to Big Sheep the other day, and you've been there, haven't you?
I have.
They're a great business in Devon, and I met the owner, a good friend of mine. I'm going again to see him in a couple of weeks. Really good business.
It's a good day out, that.
It was very impressive, a well-oiled machine.
Last time I went there, it was 41 degrees, and my son, who was at that point 18 months, had the biggest meltdown you've ever seen a kid have.
Oh, right.
I dragged him back. I dragged him out of the Big Sheep. He would not be going back to the Big Sheep. He's not welcome. He's barred like an East End nightclub.
It's a really good business to check out where they really think about the customer and experience more than most. Whole family, yeah.
I had pals who'd been there before, and they were like, "Oh, wait till the end of the day when they have the big sheep race." I'm like, "Are we waiting around in 40-degree heat for like a bunch of sheep to race?" They're like,
"It's very good."
Oh no, but it's brilliant, and it was just fantastic. Like hundreds of people watching this thing at the end of the day.
It's really good. But the reason I bring it up is they've got a really interesting model now. In coronavirus, they do not open on Sundays. So this is a theme park. It's a visitor attraction. They're not religious. They've just done the sums and they've gone, our staff would prefer it if we don't open on Sundays. And they take a lot of their revenue in peak time, like summer holidays, etc. And so they go, everyone will just come Monday to Saturday. So they've reduced their overheads, made their staff really happy.
So what, even in the peak times, they don't open Sundays?
Summer holidays, they're not open on Sundays.
That seems crazy, doesn't it?
Crazy, yeah. But they've made it work and reduced their overheads. Everyone comes Monday to Saturday now.
Because I can never get over that when I walk into a shopping centre, you see the entertainer shut on a Sunday. I'm like,
that's what? For religious reasons.
Yeah. But it always just staggers me.
Yeah.
Just absolutely staggers me. Each to their own, I guess.
Each their own.
Right. Before we get into the podcast, though, I think it's only right that we have James Sinclair's favourite part of the podcast.
Oh, I do. I love it. I love it.
He loves this.
Wait, is there a knock on the door?
It's time for this. Interesting quote or fact. Interesting quote or fact.
He's hearing it live for the first time.
He's hearing it. Interesting quote or fact of the week.
Yes. Well,
Chuds, are you a fan of that?
Yeah, it was actually quite good.
Sorry, go on. Say again.
That was actually quite good.
Okay, Chuds is on the mic today as well. He's ready. He's ready and
Smart.
enjoying himself. It just goes to show that Chuds has never consumed any of this content fully. If he looks that surprised by it.
When I'm editing it, I have to listen to it every time.
Okay, sure. All right then, Chuds. He's definitely using Autopod. Just getting that to do the hard heavy lifting for him. Right, what have you got, Jimbo Sinclair?
I'm going to do some statistics about UK businesses.
Okay.
Interesting facts. I think people... Are you going quote or fact?
I've got facts.
Oh, do double fact.
Double fact off.
Chuds can come in with a quote then. Choose your favourite quote, Chuds. We'll come into you in a moment. And this is producer Chuds is now. He's on the audio waves. And a lot of you will be watching on YouTube thinking, what does he look like?
You will
in
never
the next
know.
10 years, we might reveal what he looks like. Interesting. So I've got my facts here. So these are UK business statistics.
Come on then. Blow our minds.
Total SME employment in 2023 was 16.7 million people. So 61% of all private sector jobs are from SMEs. I find that very, very fascinating.
But how much of a percentage is SME business? Like 80%, 75, 80, 90%?
Well, let me give you some more.
Oh, he's not finished, guys.
So this is all businesses. There's 5.5 million registered businesses in the UK, right?
And only 3.2 million of them are owned by you. So there's 2.5 million quid for the rest of us to share.
Now, listen
I
to
bought
this,
another
right?
one today, guys. I accidentally bought a business. Genuine conversation we had over breakfast.
So these are all businesses that employ people. This is what always fascinates me, and I've mentioned this a lot. So there's 5,555,130 registered businesses that employ people. Yeah. Have you got that?
5.
Of those that employs 0 to 250 people is 5,547,000. So that means there's about 10,000-ish businesses that employ over 250 people, which always blows my mind.
Yeah.
Do you find that fascinating?
No, it doesn't surprise me. It's interesting.
We're talking about the size of a village here in the United Kingdom controlling all of the big companies in terms of population.
Yeah, that doesn't massively surprise me.
There's, well, actually, 7,000. The answer is there's 7,960 companies in the UK, so less than that, they employ more than 250 people. I mean, I find that genuinely fascinating.
You should do a conference just for that sector of people. You could do like the O2 Arena.
7,960 is not a lot of people. That is a village.
Yeah, I know.
To give, I mean, that's secondary school's got like 2,000 people, students.
Yeah, so it's like three secondary schools.
Yeah.
It's not
controlling 70 million.
Blows your mind.
It does.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, what's your fact?
No,
you got another.
So if there was ever like, I guess in your space, what would it be? Like a Merlin.
Yeah.
So like a massive entertainment company, right?
Yeah,
if they're like, look, we're looking to refresh things. We don't need to step down from your stuff, but we want you to come in as CEO. And they employ what? A couple of thousand people?
Oh no, tens of thousands.
Tens of that. Would you ever go and do it?
Or be CEO?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't do that.
No. What if they said you got carte blanche, you can do what you like?
Just
First thing
get me going.
Rossi Ice Cream everywhere. I'll put a Rossi there, a Rossi there, a Rossi there.
No, that doesn't interest me.
Does it not?
No.
What about for £1 million a year salary?
Definitely not.
Really? £10 million a year?
Mm-mm.
No way. £15 million a year, final offer.
No.
Deal or no deal?
No, because I'd be...
You can do whatever you
I
like.
wouldn't feel fulfilled.
Would you not? 15 million
if
reasons why.
If I had a stake in it, if I had an option to own a part of it, maybe.
How much? I'll give you 15 million quid, you get 5%. I've got him, Merlin.
Maybe. It's dealing with a board and having to answer to shareholders that I would struggle with.
Would you? Okay. Here we go then. So you should grow a profitable enterprise. So it works without you in it if you've got no intention to do so. So what's the end game, right? So let's say everything folds into the existing empire, blah, blah, blah. You always talk about it. At the moment, you're 1,200-ish people, 40 million quid turnover. At some point, a bigger entity is going to look at you guys and go, oh, we'll have that. Or we'll have a bit of that. And they come in for you and they want to buy the whole thing, but you have to answer to a board.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Would you not?
Nope.
That's them phoning. On Chud's phone straight away. Is that Merlin on the phone? They said no deal. I said, would you not sell? So who would you sell to? Like a private PE house that then takes it and runs their own thing with it?
I would sell and keep a minority share to help them and sit on the board and advise them. I'd like to do that.
Would you? What's your thing with boards? Why do you not like a board? It's because you've always been the board.
I just don't want to be told what to do and have some wally that doesn't know what they're doing. If they were genuinely...
What if they were better than you?
Then I would listen.
Would you?
Mm.
Do you have people around you who are better than you at stuff?
Yeah, loads.
That you listen to?
Yeah. Nearly all of my management team are better than me.
And you listen to them?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. I think Chuds would attest if he says a better idea than me. I can quickly change my mind.
He nodded. We can't show you on camera because...
Go on, Chud, say it. Yeah, I do.
It'd be distracting.
I think that's fair, isn't it?
Yes. You listen and take on feedback and change your opinion if need be.
Oh, that sounded convincing, didn't it?
No, I do. That's one of, I'm very proud of that.
Okay.
I don't think I was like that when I was younger, but I think as I've got older.
You matured.
Yeah, and from sort of 25 onwards, I quickly realised it's better to get a different set of opinions. And if they can back it up with fact, then you should change your mind.
Are you a man who believes in the philosophy of if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together?
Yep.
And how old were you when you adopted that philosophy? Like that? Was that back
I
same sort of
employed
age?
people from
the get-go?
Yeah.
But did you know that was the reason to do it? Or is it like, I just don't want to do that work, so I'll give it to someone else? Or did you know you were building like, we can go further with more?
Yeah, I've always brought in my skill sets that I'm weak at.
Consciously? From 18?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Good level of self-awareness. Right, you ready for my interesting fact?
Yeah.
So did you know, I think we should have the jingle again. Interesting. It's actually too long. Because we're talking about photos today.
Yeah.
Did you know that at its height, Kodak was valued? In fact, what do you think? Don't look at the screen. Not that you can read it from there anyway. I'm nearly blind as a bat. What do you think was the total market cap of Kodak at its height?
How many years ago?
Which is in the 90s. It was in the 90s.
Steve Jobs really ruined it for them, didn't he?
He did.
Really?
He did. There's a few people who ruined it before Steve Jobs. They actually ruined it for themselves before Steve Jobs. I'll come on to that in a minute. Guys, it is a layered factual quiz, this one.
40 billion US dollars.
It's very close. 31 billion.
Yeah.
31 billion US dollars. Do you know what the market cap of Kodak is today?
2 or 3 billion.
It is.
Maybe a bit more than that. 4 or 5.
It's estimated to be between 389 and 403 million. It has lost 98.7% of its market capitalisation.
Well, I think that's a very interesting fact or quote.
Isn't it?
I think.
Isn't it? Thank you.
A little round of applause
Thank
there.
you very much. I'll applaud myself.
See what
there.
happens when you prepare things.
Exactly.
You're better at it.
I was here this morning at your hotel prepping like it was an exam. I haven't studied so hard since GCSE maths.
Well, we like to have a quote. So Chuds loves a bit of personal development.
By the way,
go on.
sorry, Kodak, the reason obviously they got killed off in a lot of ways is because of the digital camera. Do you know who was one of the first people to create the digital camera? Flipping Kodak! In 1975, they developed the first ever digital camera, but didn't want to release it because...
Banging them all out.
I know. How many more do you want? Do you want any more?
Yeah, go on.
No, I haven't got any more. I thought you'd say no. Go on, Chuds, we need a quote now just to even it out. Here we go.
This is what I texted you, James, earlier in the week. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits.
Oh,
that
beautiful.
is good. It's like having Chris Williamson on someone else's podcast, isn't it? Fantastic. There you go.
There you go.
Interesting quote or fact of the week. And
right, should we get a guest on?
Yes, we shall.
Time is
ticking away.
Hey gang, we're going back to the pod in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about Entrepreneurs University. This is a platform that I've created for entrepreneurs and business owners that are serious about growth. There's 100 video lessons from me on everything in business, raising finance, buying companies, property investment, and everything in between. Attached to each video is a downloadable PDF that goes into more detail about what we've learned in the video. It goes one step further than that because I've also put stuff that you won't get anywhere else onto Entrepreneurs University. The lessons go into way more detail, but not just that. You're going to get my business plans, my spreadsheets, and all the files that I use to drive the KPIs in my business. Just think about how powerful that could be for your business. And here's the good news. You can try Entrepreneurs University for free. 14-day free trial. After that, it will cost you just $49.99 a month. That's less than a pair of Nikes to grow the profitability in your business. There's a link in the video description, and I cannot wait to see you in Entrepreneurs University.
Martin, thank you for your patience. Presuming we still have your patience, you're still actually bothering to listen in the wings there. How are you, sir? Thank you for being on the pod.
Still here. I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
We are very well, thank you. I speak for me and my significant other, not in a romantic sense. So we've obviously spoken a little bit about the business, the challenges, etc. But can you just give our lovely listener a bit of a summary of you in the business, mate, in a sort of a upselly sales pitch elevator style for the next 60 to 90 seconds? Go.
Yeah. So we basically build permanent install photo booths. So we'll put them into bars, nightclubs, venues, and yeah, as James said, really work on a revenue share basis, whereby the venue will effectively earn money from every use of the photo booth, and obviously off the back of that, we earn our revenue through that as well. So we customize them for each venue, so they'll have like a full vinyl wrap, they'll have digital overlays that are bespoke branded for the venue, and then obviously when the customers get their printout, they can also access that and share on socials, etc. So we get a bit of data capture off the back of it as well.
So does it print a live photo for them to take there and then, and also like emails them a digital copy?
Yeah, so it'll print a 6x4 print, which is done on like a dye sublimation printer, so it's instantly dry. And then it will come out with a QR code on that they can then access the digital version. And ours are a bit different in the fact they do like 16 photos, so they'll take 4 sets of 4 photos and they'll stitch them together into like an animated boomerang GIF. That then that's what they can access digitally and share.
Interesting. Hello, Martin. Martin.
Hello, James.
I just want to know, because I think I used to always ask this, and I think we need to make sure we always ask it again, JB. How did you get your first customer?
So I, back in about 2013, 14, bought an event photo booth, so like a pop-up one. And this is sort of how I started really going to weddings, doing weddings and events on weekends, etc., or my days off as I was working 4 on 4 off. And then after about 18 months of doing that, as I'm sure with your history, James, you probably got to the same point of being very bored of going to weddings, etc., to work. So effectively decided to look at a way of integrating a payment system into the equipment we already had, and then built like a physical carcass and approached a bar in Chelmsford and Essex where we lived. Asked them about if they would be interested in putting one in. I think for them we did they got £1 from every print and we got £2. I think it was £3 a print at the time. And the bar owner was like, yeah, why not, give it a try. So put the equipment from the wedding photo booth into a carcass that we built, put it in the bar, and went from there really. I
love these stories. It's brilliant. Why do we not do that enough? I used to do it all the time until you turned up.
It's because we ain't got time because of all your stupid flipping games you want to play every week. Get back to the good content. So what was the catalyst of wanting to, like, from someone who's like got quite a high pressured, serious professional job, why did you want to have another job on the side 4 days a week?
I've always been a bit of a tech geek, so just really from that, really, I sort of saw photo booths at weddings and stuff, and knew they existed, and thought, well, actually, that would be quite a good side hustle. Naturally, when you're in the police or when you're in any sort of job that's a shift pattern and you work 4 on 4 off, or any sort of shift pattern where you have days off during the week. For me, I'm not the sort of person that would just have 4 days off in a week and do nothing with them. Like I don't like sitting doing nothing particularly. I'm just so it naturally sort of lent into my geekiness. I was like, I've always liked photography, cameras, computers. So I was like, oh, that'd be quite an interesting thing to play about with a photo booth. And there's quite a lot of different things you can do with them. So started looking at that and thought, well, the average wedding we were doing at the time was about £400 to go and do a 3-hour hire of a photo booth.
I remember it all.
They were so popular at one point. Are they still put up? I guess they are.
We had them. Do you know? We absolutely had
so,
them. Yeah, and just quickly, what do you miss the police, or have you completely glad you're out of it?
The camaraderie, like I miss probably the teams I used to work on, but or in terms of having those sort of close knit community of colleagues, but the job as a whole, no, don't miss that particularly.
Well, let's get into the challenges then. Okay, challenge number 1: cash flow for growth. Building new machines is capital intensive. I think you could contact a good finance broker or speak to a bank and get a facility in place now to help you with this if you're making these sorts of profits, so that you can. Yeah, go on. Hello.
The issue we've had with this, and I've spoken to quite a few brokers, is because we manufacture the product. So to try and explain a bit of the history of the business, we actually used to sell our photo booths to a partner company, who then used to get the venues and we would get a share of their profit. We stopped doing that about a little over about 18 months ago. So we now deal directly with venues instead of through this third party company. But basically they could buy our product and we would charge them an upmark on obviously what it was costing us to build, etc. They could go and finance that as an asset, but because we build the product, we can't.
I think that's wrong. I mean, I'd literally put a $5 on it that I could sort this out for you in a couple of phone calls. If you're telling me the truth about
do it.
Yeah,
if you're telling me the truth about the profitability, there's a couple of things. If you're making 300 grand a year net profit, have you paid corporation tax on that?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you done that for more than 1 year?
So our 2023 year end was a net of 137,
fine.
just over.
Yeah. So I will, off air, if you can just email Tracy, I'll introduce you to my people. I think what you need is a one-off loan of £250,000, 300 grand, because then you're making that much profit that you'll be able to use your own cash flow, wouldn't you?
To a degree, yeah. I mean, we do have a facility of about 200 in place, although that's about 160 left on that now.
What is that, an overdraft?
But so it is a loan, but it's not a particularly great interest rate. So it's sort of yeah.
I mean, I think
we got that about a year ago.
Yeah, so I will speak to. I'll do that for you. I think you get that 300, 400,000 as you pay it down. You can draw it back up, pay it down, draw it back up. That's what you need. As long as these profits are true, someone will do that for you, and I will introduce you to my brokers that can help with that. And I'll make sure I follow up on that to see it's being done. So I think that sorts that one out. Second bit challenge: business of staffing. We want to have enough staff to manage builds, but not too many for when we don't have builds on. You want to get into a position though where you're building, you've just got stuff ready to go, don't you?
To a degree, yeah. I mean, that's sort of was the aim when we took that loan facility about a year ago to try and get ahead of ourselves. But to be honest, we've just been so busy with venues. We've got still a list of venues to install into and can't really build them fast enough at the moment. And then the other side of it is I've never wanted to be sitting on too much. Like I don't think that's
ever going to happen. If you had too much, you're going to get new customers. You've proved that you're quite resourceful. You just go out and do it. So don't.
Yeah.
There's a great little quote. I was going to be my quote for the day, but I think people spend a lot of time majoring in the minor things in life. And I think that you will never, if you've got 10 photo booths in there, I very quickly spoke to you this morning. You are one of those types that will go, right, I need to go and find 10 customers and get them earning me revenue. You know that's you, Martin. So just don't even let that be a consideration going forward. There is something that I think you should explore though. I would send a couple of those photo booths, the designs and plans of them, to Turkey and China and just see what they can make. Because I reckon they could probably make that all done in a container, landed for $2,500. I bet you they can. And you just buy 4 containers, and then you don't need to, you just have service people, and you might do the wrapping here in the UK. If you're doing the volume you're doing, you definitely need to consider it. So vending machines, there's a company here in the UK, like crane vending machines. They sell them for $9,000 here in the UK. The same crane vending machine was $1,500 in China. The exact same one. So the markup, because they're going through all these people, it's worth spending some time on that. And what people go, oh, it might be rubbish Chinese made. No, Chinese not cheap anymore. China is not cheap anymore. They just have the volume, the workforce, and the resource to do this stuff. And like I always say here on the pod, if you're using a Mac or an iPhone, it's some of the best technology you're ever going to get. And that bad boy is made in China, both of them.
Yeah, my concern really with manufacturer, I've sort of never really looked into it, because it's that kind of, how do you find that reliable manufacturing partner? And
well, you're very lucky.
To the point where
you're very lucky, because you can spend a day on Google, find 3 or 4 factories, then you get on a plane, you go to China, and you just rinse and repeat. The technology might be changing inside, but them housings probably stay similar, but they can buy all the technology, because it probably is made there originally anyway, and just do it all for you. And it might be 3 or 4 trips going backwards and forwards, but if that brings your costs down by 70%, and you just got a container of what's really good in China is when you're rinsing and repeating, that. So I make teddy bears, as the same teddy bear I order 10 times a year on repeat. You get really good at quality control. It's when you're doing new stuff all the time that can become more of a challenge. Not impossible, but more of a challenge. So I would definitely consider doing that. Then the third biggest challenge, finding new venues, putting across how our product is better than competitors. Most smiles simply think a photo booth is a photo booth. I would be doing exhibitions. Have you done some exhibitions?
No, again, just we've always been so, like, since COVID restrictions lifted, we've just been so busy that it's kind of got round to the exhibitions that I probably would consider doing. And probably completely my fault. I've just not had enough good enough planning in place really to sort of allow us to do. And we've just been like flat out building, installing, and managing obviously what we've already got.
If this was my business, I'd be looking at this going, right, it's costing me $7,500 to make a photo booth with R&D, gross profits, labour, warehouse. I would be going, I'm going to send 2 or 3 of these to China, or one of them to China. I would pay for that to be done. I'd say, copy this exactly. Don't cut any corners. I want an exact like-for-like copy. Then I would get on a plane, go and see what they've made and say, can you tweak that? I'd stay there for 2 weeks and say, right, can you make me 2 or 3 versions of it while I'm here? They're very good at making stuff like this. And then I'd say, right, fill a 40-foot container. I want one of them every 3 months, please. That's going to, if you're bringing down your cost of sale from $7,500 to $3,000 to make them, it's going to become a very profitable business. And you're just putting them in on profit shares, so you don't even have to worry about. It just great. It could be this is a very good business. It could become a great business, and it's going to save you a lot of money. And then you can set it up in Australia and just get them drop shipped from China to Australia. You could get them.
Funny you should say that.
What are you laughing at?
I do. I have a 30% shareholding in a company in Australia that's literally doing this. That we're in the process of where we've.
But every company, you can set it up in America, direct from China to America. And then you're going to China. And this is the big trick that most people won't do, is you do need to fly out there and go and see and go do and, touch it, feel it, smell it, sniff it, go around it. I think that stuff makes a big difference. And most people just want to do it all via Alibaba. So really the third biggest challenge isn't really a challenge, because you do know how to go and get more customers. It's just that ASI is not a problem at the moment, is it?
Yeah, no, it's it's not so much that issue. It's, I guess it's like you've alluded to, kind of trying to diversify our clients, but because we've got competitors in the UK obviously doing the same business model effectively. And
there's loads. I could give you loads of. JB as well, like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, reaching out to all bar owners with a really nice PDF. Direct mail. There's a ton of things that you can do to get customers, but actually you haven't got the supply chain sorted yet, have you? You could, if you got 100 new customers through a marketing campaign this month, you can't even get.
This is the other issue. Yeah, this is part of the issue is that when I've got a business development manager, like I say, he's kind of does freelance hours for me, but for exactly that reason, really. Like he's recently found us another sort of 10, 20 venues, and now we're sort of, well, we need to build these and install them. So we need to put a hold on doing business development because we need to catch up with what we've already got in the pipeline, really.
So just one of the things that I think with these types of businesses, just from my point of view, just some tips that you haven't asked about. Are you getting fussy on where you place these things? So just not all and sundry. They've got to have a certain amount of footfall and all of that.
Yes and no. We do try to sort of pre-qualify bars and venues to get an idea of whether they're going to do well, but in all honesty, it is a little bit of a grey area of the business, because you might think you go to a venue and they're 100 capacity and you think, 100 capacity, it's probably a little bit small, but then you'll put it in there and they'll absolutely smash it because they just have really strong turnover of custom going through the venue. Whereas sometimes you'll put it in a 500 capacity venue and it'll do absolutely rubbish.
Yeah. Well, you'll know all of those things, but what? So, what would be a good take for a booth in a bar in a week compared to a bad take?
Good can be, well, for example, we installed one in Portsmouth last week, and that's just done about $3,500 in a week.
Oh, wow.
So good can be incredible. Bad can be, bad. I always assess the average basically, rather than, I don't really look at, it's nice to have these good venues, but I try and look at the average across. So when we do 30 builds, I'll look at the average and say, well, is the average above £300 a week? That's sort of where we keep it. But that average would include venues that are doing £1,000 a week and venues that are doing 100. We try and keep them above £150 a week, give or take.
So there's 15,600 there. Divide that by 1.2. Take off the VAT. You're left with 13,000 minus 40% for the venue. So really, you don't start making money until year 2.
Yeah, pretty much. We aim for a payback of roughly 12 to 18 months, give or take, across like a set of builds, if you like, rather than just individual venues.
And is the plan still to build this up to sell it?
Potentially, yeah. I'm not adverse to the idea of selling the business at some point. Certainly not. But it's difficult to see in my mind at the moment who that sale would be to. Whether it would be, obviously, if you sell to a competitor, you're probably going to take a bit of a hit, or if you're selling to someone who invests in businesses, then they're going to want a complete management team in place, etc., which we don't really have at the moment because I'm sort of involved in the business.
I think this is a good business. I think there is opportunities to.
Sinclair's in for a cheeky offer. Seller finance, you say?
It's a bit too small for me. But I think it could be a really good business. I can see it do very well in leisure, so in holiday parks and stuff like that. But they probably want to own the booths. They probably wouldn't want to do a joint venture. Maybe not. I don't know.
Do you ever sell to venues so they can own it themselves, or is it just
not really? No, it's
would
pretty
you
much revenue, because potentially it's a bit of a difficult one because not too difficult. It could be done, but we have our own proprietary software and stuff, which we would like, obviously, if it's got our branding on the stuff, we'd like to keep it that way.
You just need to go
out
through
the realms of possibility. And I also find, to be honest, the venues, I think most venues would probably struggle to run their own photo booth, because they would, from what I've seen of a lot of hospitality venues, they don't really keep. They would have someone with the knowledge that would then leave the business, and then no one would know how to run it, and it would sit there not getting used.
Yeah. It's good business, though. Right, shall we do questions then, JB? If you read them out.
Yes, indeed. So the questions that Martin had, questions for James. On reflection, would he have continued to grow to the size he is now, or is there a better work-life balance with smaller businesses? No, you would have carried on, wouldn't you? Fine. Let's skip on to number 2.
Yeah.
Tips on structuring deals to incentivize people to sell assets that they'd rather not. Oh, what's that one all about, Martin? Tips on structuring deals to incentivize people to sell assets they'd rather not.
So that's alluding to what I said earlier about the company we used to work with or used to sell to. In an ideal world, I would buy back all the assets that we ever sold to them. But it's trying to structure a deal that works for both parties, really. Yep. Yep. And obviously it comes down to the fact that they make good revenue from them at the moment, but it's kind of a balance because most of their machines are getting on in age and are probably going to need replacing at some point. And now we've gone down this line of not selling anymore. Then it's kind of, I would like to structure a deal where we can buy back the assets and be kind of fully independent, so to speak.
What did they say about you buying it?
The last answer I got was the offer I made wasn't enough for the revenue they generate. But my argument is the offer I made is based on sort of the asset value and the fact that a lot of them are quite old. So the revenue from them is not irrelevant. I understand that, but it certainly can't be taken as, well, they make this much revenue, so you've got to pay, or you should be paying this much for them, because that revenue will stop
Decrease,
if we don't continue to sort of input our our maintenance and our software and everything we update. Obviously we look after the back end of those photo booths still, so it's
what do you get in terms of revenue from them
situation.
now? Nothing, because it was just the upfront sale.
No, so we get 35% of their profit, so that's after venue take, after paper costs, after engineer costs.
And what do they get?
The rest of it.
So just give me that. So they getting like 50 grand a year, and you're getting 50 grand a year out of the whole deal, sort of thing.
No, I would say, well, off the top of my head, we earn sort of 25 to 30 grand a month from their photo booths, so they're pretty much double that.
Double it, so doing 50 to 80.
Well, have you made them a number offer and they've said no?
Yeah. I did last year. Yeah.
Have you asked them what the number needs to be?
Probably not.
Have you
I don't know if I'd get.
Have you or not? Did you say what's your number?
I don't think I'd get that answer. I know it's one of those. My wife always tells me off for answering my own questions, but
you have done that a lot in this podcast.
Yeah.
I've got to say you've said that it's difficult 4 times.
Yeah.
So you're putting up walls that only exist in your mind at the moment.
I think JB's right though. Ask them what their number is. Just see you've got a line in the sand. You're not prepared to pay that, and you say to them, "Well, look, this is always what I do in these situations," and it always comes around 9 times out of 10. They go, "Right, we want X," and you say, "Well, look, I'm prepared to offer Y. Just think about that, and if in a couple of years' time you're ready to sell, come back to me. I won't divvy it down. I won't be paying more, but I want you to know that's always there, because that doesn't leave their mind." And then
you've had that happen twice in the last few weeks, haven't you?
Yeah, always comes. Might take 2 years, might take 3 years, but they do come back. So hopefully that's that. Number
3 is any suggestions or ideas for approaching venues?
Yeah, loads. But I mean, I think you shouldn't be focusing on that, because I think it's, at the moment, if you did get more venues, you can't do anything about it, can you? Because you can't make the stuff. I think solve that problem, because getting the customers is not going to be an issue. It's not like, oh, I need loads of money. It's like, we're going to give you money for no investment. Like, it's going to be easy.
Do you want free cash?
Yeah.
Yes, please. I would love some. Which then feeds on to question number 4. What would James do with the business if it were his to grow it, or what other businesses would he look at or suggest?
Well, a number of things. I would sort out the supply chain by going abroad, because I think it's going to I think you could make a big savings in terms of cash flow. You can even get finance to get all this stuff from abroad so that you can pay for it over a year with HSBC, with Lloyd's, with all of this stuff when, on import finance. So that will solve a lot of your cash flow problems as well, and your supply problems all in one hit. Then I would probably create other revenue share vending stuff that would work, that would go into leisure, hospitality, nightclubs, bars, all of that stuff that's around this sort of that links in, that would be similar but different. I'd probably look to go and buy a pool table business that supplies loads of restaurants and bars, so that I could have all their transport infrastructure, and I could leverage that transport infrastructure to do the photo booths and look after things. Because there would be
buy your way into new venues.
Yeah,
you've done that quite successfully.
I do it all the time. Yeah, so where there is a correlation, but maybe not completely aligned, but it's getting the transport and the people and the management that you might be able to buy that would help this business. There's a number of things that I would do, but that would be enough to hopefully tickle your taste buds.
Question number 5: does James want a photo booth at Marsh Farm?
Yeah, I mean, I think this would do very well in those sorts of locations.
It would do, wouldn't it?
This could be a very, very good business. And it already is a very good business. There'll be a lot of people listening going, I wish I was earning 300 grand a year out of just over £1 million a year revenue.
I'm one of them people.
Yeah.
I'll stick my hand up and say I'm one of them people.
Yeah, I think. And then they will be going, he lives in Cornwall and his business is based in Essex. What is the secret sauce this man is taking every day? There's a lot of things that are good about you. And it's very regular, isn't it? It's very regular. Every day you open up, you're banking up, and some cash has hit the bank account. Some cash hits the bank account each and every single day. They are businesses that, there is customer concentration and there isn't customer concentration. The location is concentrated because it's, how much of your revenue comes from one person in terms of percentage?
Yeah, it's about what you were alluding to, 70%.
So that would be the thing that keeps me up at night.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely, yeah, and it does me. But at the same time, it's one of those, when you actually start going around venues in the UK, our main client owns a lot
most of them. Yeah.
So it's difficult.
Absolutely. But there are lots of independents, and you could go and get them. So it doesn't really worry me. There are plenty of places you could put stuff, but you still don't have the supply chain sorted. And until that's sorted and you get that funding and everything like that lined, you go, don't you? Because the model works, it makes money, you're tried, tested and proven, you've got proprietary software, all of those things, tick box, sort the supply chain, get the funding in place, which I don't think is that difficult. I don't think that's difficult. You need a really good understanding bank manager that's, got a few more brain cells than the average to go, oh, you need this, and this. Maybe you set up, one of the things that I would get around the, you could get asset finance by setting up another limited company, which would be called Martin's Photo Booths Manufacturing Limited, which I've obviously just made up. And then you would buy off of that company and put the lease finance in place. There are many ways to skin a cat. You just don't know most of them. I do. I will introduce you to the right people.
Okay, nice one. Sounds good to me.
Really good business, though. JB's done a lot of these with me. This would be in the top 10% in 100%. Terms of model. Yeah. The model is beautiful.
The seasonal thing I alluded to, just to cover that off.
Thank you. Do you want a microphone?
Is basically it's basically just that we see pretty much as you alluded to, James. It's nightclubs and obviously late night venues in the summer when people want to be outside just aren't as busy. So we see really big peaks and troughs. So October and December are massive months for us with Halloween.
Hello, baby.
Christmas and New Year.
You're loving this month then.
Yeah, very good month for us. But obviously it drops off a little bit in the summer. But yeah.
But the thing is, on that, you could be in holiday parks.
Oh, yeah.
You could be in visitor attractions and things.
Yeah, we've actually got a pier down south, and that does pretty well in the summer.
Yeah, so you could solve that.
Piers and stuff.
You could solve that with the right funding and supply chain issues sorted out. And that's why, look, getting the customers, I think in your heart of hearts, that's not really a problem. You've already got a load of them. You could go and get more customers, but it's like a food, I obviously talk about food manufacturing all the time here on the pod because I've got a lot of food manufacturing and food businesses. And what I very quickly learned was transport is the number one challenge of the food manufacturer business. How do you get the stuff to the customer? And once you solve that, then you work out how you're going to get customers. And it's a little bit like you. Once you've solved that, can you on demand get 20 more photo booths out without having to wait for them to be made? And you've got the funding to do that. Once you've solved those two problems, which I think are solvable, if you'd turn around and said, yeah, we're making 20 grand a year profit. No, they're not solvable, but you're making good profits. This would get a lot of people excited.
What do you have any tips on, or any particular links for websites for finding manufacturers, or is it literally just a case of typing into Google?
Start with Google, start with Alibaba, then you find, get an agent in the Far East. I'm reticent to recommend to people that I know that have made me stuff in case they let you down, and I don't want that coming back on me. But if you find some people...
You whisper it to me, Jim, and I'll tell him.
No,
come back on me.
But I think, look, what I would say is getting on the plane and spending some time.
You say this all the time.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many people have still bothered to action it.
Yeah. Desktop research is good for a broad understanding, but anyone that does anything well goes to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, we are. Yeah, I'm going out to Australia next week or next month to actually sort out the manufacturing chain over there, because we've got a manufacturer lined up and stuff over there. But like you say, maybe it's better to put that time and effort into going to China. And
I'm telling you, what I always, let's look at Australia. I think the population of Australia is
27 million.
27 million. So less than half of the United Kingdom, and a country that is just ginormous.
Huge. Yeah.
Let's pop over to China. Got 1.1 billion people there, and I go there a lot. And they're just, people are everywhere. Infrastructure is everywhere. Systems and processes are everywhere. What people, and I just want to labour this again here on the pod. It's not about the money saving in China now, because Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines got lots of people, and they're much, much cheaper. The thing about China is they have the resource and the discipline, as it were, to be able to do things. I was listening to Elon Musk talk about this. They built the Tesla factory for making batteries, done it 11 months in China that's what we need to do, fully operational in 11 months. And they said, in California, it takes 2 years to get planning permission through. We haven't put a spade in the ground. And he even said, I can build a spaceship rocket quicker than I can get planning permission, which is something really
madness,
really to think about. Where those challenges are not in China. They're quick because there's a lot of people, and a lot of skill set.
Yes, food for thought. That
if there is an amazing bar, restaurant, holiday park who is listening, going, I need one of these booths. I'll have 40% revenue share with Martin. He sounds like a lovely fellow, and I like the cut of his cloth. Where can they find out more information about you and these beautiful booths, Martin?
So our main website is barbooths.co.uk, barbooths.co.uk, and I'm on LinkedIn as Martin Plummer. And we also have Instagram, Snap-O-Matic photo booths. So the actual branding on, albeit we're called Bar Booths Limited, the actual branding on our photo booths is Snap-O-Matic. And there's a reason we're still Bar Booths. It's because we've never done any SEO on the website, and if you search photo booth for bar, it still comes up on page 1 of Google. So
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Fantastic.
Very lucky, but
supply chain and funding, they're your two things. Then getting customers.
100%.
When are you going to do that, Martin? Out of interest, so we could circle back with you.
Do what? Look into supply chain stuff.
When are you going to go to China?
I'll be doing that this afternoon. Well,
Good
not going to
stuff.
China, but looking.
Well, honestly, get back in touch with Jim's office when the supply chain is more fulfilled, because we'd love to hear the impact that this had to the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what I think you should do as well, not that I'm trying to sell myself here, I think you should
Here
book
he goes.
a gold ticket for business masterclass and get your one-to-one time with me. Because I think
When is the next one?
next year now, in 2025. Well, I don't, it might be this year by the time this podcast comes out, because we're never really sure
Might have
when
missed
they
the
land.
next one.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it'd be, I think I can introduce you to some people. Right. Okay. It was brilliant, though.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Martin. Thanks for being on the pod.
No, thank you for your time, chaps. Much
Pleasure.
appreciated, and really, really good pointers. I think good stuff for me to digest and look at.
Good stuff. All the best out there. Thank you very much for being on
Nice
the pod.
one.
There is Martin, all the way from Barboofs.
Barboofs. Good business model. Chuds, you can do me a favour,
is
because
great,
we've got to do 8 traits of the great. Could you pass me my James Sinclair notebook? Because I don't remember them off by heart.
Do you not?
Well, I know them, but I don't know them in the right order. Thanks, Chuds. Here he comes. Look at this. There you go. Bosh. There it is.
Look at
ladies and
that.
gentlemen.
Nice bit of branding. Nice bit of branding there. Right, you ready? You going to do it, are you? You going to do the 8 traits? I reckon he's going to score well.
Are we going to do 8 traits? Yes, if there was a trait, a 9th trait, business model, he would get a point
Yes,
for that.
he would.
Because
He'd
I
get
think
2 points.
Yeah, I think one of the big things to really mention here.
Just wait for the jingle. Carry
One
on.
of the things to remind people is models are what make businesses great.
Yeah.
And this is a good business model.
Right. He's now off air. He's gone. Okay. He's not going to hear this until it's out. Because you like stuff that folds into the existing empire, is that something you look at, you go, that's really good?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
I could add value to that.
yeah, I think I could add a lot of value to it instantly. I think I could get in customers, blah, blah, blah. I think he's good. But I've got enough on my plate. But,
Okay.
this would be a good business to invest in, but I don't know if he wants investment, that's the.
He was a little bit, he was putting up walls that don't exist. He kept saying, it's difficult, this is difficult, that's difficult, this is difficult. I'm just like,
But it is difficult, isn't it?
yeah, I
Life,
know,
isn't
but
it?
if you keep saying it's difficult, you create your own reality with your words, don't you? 'Cause
Yeah,
your thoughts
maybe.
become your words become your actions, and your actions become your outcomes, don't they?
Okay.
It's just another little quote, just a little bonus quote or fact. It wasn't a bonus.
Right, okay. 8 traits of great entrepreneurs, starting with the end in mind.
No, I don't think you can have that.
I don't think you can have that.
No.
Passionate about their cause.
Yeah, he left the old bill for this, didn't he? So
Okay.
that's a vocation.
Number
isn't
3,
it? Why put a
untold.
0? You just completely disagree with me.
Oh, sorry. Number 3, untold amounts of resilience.
We don't know, do we?
No. Half a point.
Yeah,
People slag us off for giving half. They go, no, just be nasty and give them 0.
Who's saying that's James,
James
Martin?
Martin,
Isn't it?
yeah.
It's not people. It's just James Martin.
Yeah, James Martin, who I know will be watching. Hello, James.
What's your
is-
feedback on this episode,
Yeah,
James?
he's our watchdog and auditor of this podcast. Number 4, they master relationships with people.
I think you got to in the bar and leisure game, haven't you? Give
Yeah, he
him a
knocks
point.
on the door. Number 5, commercial awareness. I do think he has that. Doesn't have. Didn't ask me if he was doing profit and loss and management accounts, though, did we?
Oh no!
But
Give him a point. Why not?
yeah, they innovate so they don't evaporate. Yeah, he's an innovator. He's yeah, I think we give him.
Go on.
Their master marketeers 0.
No, can't have that.
Stay teachable and
He
curious.
definitely could have that one. Go on then. Give him. What's the scores on the doors?
It's got 5.5.
5.5 is not bad.
That is high. Not many people get over 5.
No. You need more than 5 to stay alive in this game. That's what they always say. Say, don't they? Right.
Mate, you was invented for hospital radio.
Wasn't I just? I think more Radio 2 than hospital radio, but
Look
oh,
at
here
this.
he goes.
Bit of promo.
Here he goes. Christ on a bike.
This.
Normally you have to go on other people's podcast to punt your own book, but
This
not
is my new book, The Dream Team.
wow, is it?
I reckon this will be out by the time we make this. Yeah, Chuds is just confirming it. There we go. Chuds done the front cover for this.
I like it. It's nice.
Talented.
It's
This
very
is
nice.
a nod. This is a nod to our original colours for our company, purple and yellow, the Partyman colours. It's a great book. If you want to build an effective dream team.
Maybe it'll be out. Are you doing it? What are you doing?
It's not out
Print on
yet.
demand.
No, it's not out
How's it not out yet? You've got it in your hand.
because these are like early copies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they're like influencer copies. You're going to send them in like a gold box like Bartlett with like a video screen in the box and all
No,
that.
I think, but by the time this is out, they'll be on Amazon. They'll be on the jamessinclair.net website if you want to give all your money direct to us.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
There we go.
Give it all to you instead. Right. I know what you're thinking, guys. That was a lovely podcast. I've enjoyed that hour.
No, it's not over.
It's not over
This is
yet.
my favourite part of the show.
Is it? No, so you like interesting fact or quiz, don't you?
Well, this one I like as well.
Yeah, okay,
Interesting photo quiz.
Yeah,
You're just
it's-
making it up as you go along.
Yeah, so this is now time for what was previously
I've never heard it.
higher or lower. We didn't know what to call it, so we just called it the business quiz. We
You called it the business quiz.
Biz quiz.
Is there a knock at the door?
There is a knock at the door and there's a fancy new jingle. He'll like this.
It's Jim versus JB on the quiz that's businessy.
It's businessy.
Business knowledge and it's fun. Which one's clever and which one's dumb? Izzy Wizzy, let's get quizzy.
Yes!
Let's get Chuds' opinion. I want to hear Chuds. Chuds, you like it?
Furious. He
You-
looks so angry.
I haven't got a fully formed opinion yet. That was ridiculous.
Yeah,
There's
good
no way.
Oh.
That's what we like. I think that means he likes it. Good
There
stuff.
we go. Right, for people that are new to the podcast thinking, what have I just done for the last 45 minutes? We have 2 trophies. Are you going to bring the trophies onto
am.
shop? Here we go. We've got 2 trophies. We've got the wooden spoon.
Oh, it was that way around last time, wasn't it?
Well, you won, didn't you? Or is it
Did
I win?
No, I think you won.
Yeah, okay. Then we have the trophy, and then we swap it depending on who wins. We might get Chuds' opinion as well. So
We should.
Do you know the answer? Okay, right.
Here they
And
come then.
Chuds is bringing in the envelope of mystery, ladies and gentlemen. It says private and confidential. There's a wax seal on here, and inside here is a quiz question. I wish he listened to that. I wish he could hear that.
We are good.
And inside the quiz question. So is it my turn to open?
It is.
Okay, right, here we go. So I'm going to take the wax seal off. There'll be a
Peel
quizzy
off.
question on there. And whoever gets closest to the answer is the winner of the prize.
Okay.
Oh, dear. Now,
Okay.
I've got... The question is, what is the current record for the most shipping containers loaded onto a single vessel? There's a shipping container thing
Oh.
there. Can you see that? Is that on the right shot there, Chuds, for the viewer? Now,
Ish.
I have to give some clarity here. Me and Chuds often talk about this because it's so unbelievable how many they get on it. How many do you think roughly they can get on?
Can I just have a little look?
Don't count. Just what's your view?
10 by 6 down. So long. Hang on. 10 by 6. 120.
Let's bring in Chuds. When we spoke about this, what did you think? You said it's got to be 400, didn't you, or something? But you thought it was about 400 shipping containers. And when I didn't know, I thought it'd be about 400, 500. How many are you thinking?
I think it's 1,800.
1,800. You go.
Yeah, I think you could do. I think you go 60 across, you go 10 down, you go 25 deep, 30 deep.
Well, it's often 20,000 shipping containers.
Shut up.
It is. It's so strange. Someone can ever believe this.
20,000.
20,000 shipping containers.
That's a lot of teddy bears coming from China. That is. That's
So,
what I'm
so
saying.
that's that. I think it's fair because I knew that we have this conversation.
Fine.
But I reckon they've got up to 30,000 on a ship before. Are you going higher or lower?
30,000.
What are you going with, Chuds? Because you know a bit of context to this.
1,800
We are
was
so shocked
punchy.
about this. Me and Chuds, every time we see one going down the river, we ask the same question. How many shipping containers do you think you get?
Counting them quickly that.
35,000.
Oh, he's going 35,000.
35.
So
35.
Chuds is
You reckon
35K.
30,000. So you're saying 30.
JS, what are you going?
I'm just going to chuck on, I'm going to put another 0 on mine and then add another 10,000 on top. We're going to go 28,000.
28,000. Go on, JB.
Go on.
You can reveal it.
Here we go then. Today's quiz. What is the current record for the most shipping containers loaded into a single vessel? The answer is 24,346 containers as of January 2024. The record is currently held by the Swiss, of course it is, who operated the MSC Irenia, which has got, can't read that backwards, 399.9, it's nearly 400 meters long.
Wow.
It's half a kilometre long.
Yeah.
Where'd you park that?
What's the bonus fact?
The bonus fact is a large container ship engine has about 1,250 times more power than a family car.
There we go.
Who's that
Well,
quiz?
I think you've won.
Surely
You've
won
won
it.
that, but you shouldn't have really because you said 1,800.
Yeah, I think that feels like an empty victory. I mean, I'll take it, but it's an empty victory.
It's
that
an
one.
empty victory, but for this fascinating stuff here on the pod.
It absolutely is. If you've enjoyed this episode of the podcast, please feel free to let us know. If you have got some insights and wisdom from Martin, who was on earlier, please feel free to leave them in the comments. We love when people leave comments. We love it when people get engaged with the content. Give us your feedback, give us your opinion, not just on the stupid quizzes and stuff, but actually if you've got some tactical knowledge, maybe you know someone in the leisure hospitality bar or nightclub industry, you can open a door for Martin. Leave it in the comments and you can become part of the community that we are building around this podcast. And if you're on podcasts like Apple and Spotify, you can leave us a 5-star review. Anything you'd like to say, James Sinclair, or are you done?
We'll see you next week.
Ta-da!
Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.